And we're going to have a quick briefing for you. Thank you all for coming to Richmond Yacht Club for the Fall 1 design. I'm Robin Van Vliet. My idea for the Fall 1 design is we can't always give everyone their own championship level of event, but if we can get some awesome fleets that want to play together, we can give them a great race committee and give them some of our best weather of the year. And so I wanted to kick off by asking Will to give you guys a weather briefing for the weekend, especially because the U20 fleet, some of you are from out of town, and who knows our currents and weather better than Will Paxton from Quantum Sales next door. And then after Will wraps up, and hopefully he'll give you an idea of kind of the Bay Area weather, our PRO, Fred Paxton, is going to kick off and let you know answer any questions you have. We may have some hazard warnings to tell you about so you don't run into hard objects that aren't well marked around here. And after that, if you feel like hanging out and asking me any other questions about shoreside stuff, I'm here all day because I'm not going on the water. All right. Will, please tell us, are we going to have a hurricane today?
No hurricanes today. No hurricanes, no rain, no lightning. Like I said, I'm Will Paxton, so I'm a lifelong Bay Area racer. This is my home yacht club, and I work for Quantum Sales next door. I'm very happy to be here to welcome you all to the Bay, especially those of you that haven't been here before. Did notice it rained last night, which is a little bizarre for this time of year, and so consequently, the temperature is very much the same between here and inland. And our wind here is driven by the difference in temperature from here and in the valley 30, 40 miles away that way. But what happens is it's cold here, especially it's cold here in the morning when the fog comes in and it's hot inland. The air rises, pulls the cold air in underneath, and the cold air wants to follow the features around the bay, up the bay in the path of least resistance, which is why we have a really big bend on the circle, which we'll talk more about later. What happened right now is because it rained last night, the temperature is very much the same between here and inland. And so this is the bread and butter NOAA forecast. You know, those guys type these things out a couple days ahead of time and go on vacation. You can see for the whole period of the weekend, it's calling for 5 to 10. And so very much so today, you can see it's light. You can expect it to build as it will heat inland more than it heats here for the afternoon. But how much will it build is the question. So every morning I start out having a cup of coffee and watching the local weather. The weather forecasting in the Bay Area is very good, actually, because it's a very dynamic weather place. And so you actually get some useful information out of this. So I start with this every day. So let's let this roll for a minute.
As early as Tuesday. I'll get there in just a bit.
Okay,
let's start off with what we're doing from 7.
Okay, so here is where we are. We're right here. Here's our low. Here's our max high temperature for day of 72. You can see to the left of the nice lady there, it says 85. So the old school way of predicting how windy is it going to get, it literally is the difference between those two numbers, right? Which is 12. 13, close to that. So basically 12 to 13 is probably where the wind is going to max out for today. And you're going to see that as the weather normalizes going through the week, the next part we're going to roll to talks about the rest of the week. You're going to see the temperature going up. So basically that is going to confirm to us that we expect the temperature differential to get bigger and the wind to be higher. Let's run this.
Go 70s across the Bay Bridge over into Oakwood. 80s and 70s are widespread throughout wine country as we head into this afternoon. I am going to turn on the radar just to show you. You see a little bit of green kind of passing throughout the Sacramento Valley and up north as we head into the next couple hours. It really does start to clear up though as we head into the evening hours tonight, and we're gearing up for daytime highs, still cool regardless. 80s down into the Santa Clara Valley as well as the Sacramento Valley. And take a look at this. Here's where our radar's at right now. You know, just driving into work, I use my windshield wipers, and many of us are going to have to. I mean, across the Bay Bridge, across the Richmond Bridge, we're seeing some light showers. The Bay Bridge, not so much. That could look different within the next couple hours, though, as those storms continue to track offshore. We see light to moderate rain up into the North Bay right now from St. Helena all the way up along the Napa Valley. Similar trend all the way over closer to Cloverdale, Lakeport, near Clear Lake right now. Some moderate rain there. That'll continue to push offshore as the system works in a counterclockwise direction, continuing to deliver just lingering showers in the evening hours tonight. We will start to dry up into our Saturday forecast, though. Cloudy skies still prevalent. We're going to see cloudy skies into Saturday morning along the coast, clear in our inland areas. But take a look at this. We head into the next couple days, I should say. We're still holding on tight to mid-70s in the forecast for now. It's not until next week.
Okay, so see Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 74, 75, 75. Because we're near the ocean, the temperature stays very level, but then you'll see if you keep playing.
Sorry.
She's on her phone.
The people have to stop texting me. How do I get into this meeting? Thank you.
As high pressure starts rolling in, where we get a little bit of a warm-up before stormy weather returns as early as next Tuesday. That's along the bay. Now you make your way over into our inland spots. Keep in mind, we kicked off this week with 90s in the forecast. We're getting a repeat of that once we head into next Monday. Once again, stormy weather rolls in, and that's going to cool us off a bit more.
All right, so she's blocking it, but you can see the trend is up, right? So we're looking for better thermal conditions, more breeze as the regatta progresses. Okay, so now let's switch and we'll go to exactly this. Okay, so here is again take the mouse. This is sail flow, one of the fancy weather models that you can get that shows the wind on the bay. The important one to know is that you want to use the HRR. Everybody's got apps on their phone. The HRR was actually developed for firefighting. And so it specifically models near shore, much better than any other model. So it shows how the wind moves around elevations, mountains, hills. So it's perfect for the Bay Area. So this is showing a normal situation as the thermal starts in the morning and the wind fills in. It fills from the left. Like it's going to fill Treasure Island is what you see over there towards San Francisco. Path of least resistance because there will be a big lee behind Angel Island, the tall island there. And it's going to fill from the left. Now later in the day, as the flow increases, because the temperature increases, it's going to straighten out and go right towards Point Blunt, which is the corner of the island right there between us and the Golden Gate Bridge. So generally it's going to establish as it fills in that way. And then when it gets really strong later in the day, it actually goes back left again because the wind is trying to hook around the backside of Angel Island. So because of this, tactically, when you're sailing on this side of the circle, at the bottom of the course, the wind is going to be from the left because it's hooking around towards us here. As you go up the course, it's going to be coming more direct from Point Blunt, so to the right. So usually what you want to do is as soon as the wind has established, whenever that happens, you gotta use your eyeballs. You want to sail on port out of the bottom of the course, and then you're going to have a starboard at the top of the course, which makes it really easy to overstand the top mark. So we're going to roll through the slides here for the next couple of hours. So this is the wind filling in the left at 11. Right, and here's noon. And you guys are going to get started out there. You can see the wind has already gone right. And continues to build. So I think
What time is that?
this is 3 o'clock. So you're going to be done by about then. And that's showing 12 knots of breeze, roughly. This is an oversimplified look at this, and I don't think it's actually modeling it very well. I mean, you can see if you look at the wind X's on the boats out there, the wind is from here right now. And it'll, like I said, it'll go right as it gets stronger, but it will always generally be very left here because the wind is hooking around Angel Island. The other part of the equation we know here also is tides. Geez, there's me now. Right now, you're 3 hours after maximum flood. And so generally what happens about an hour after maximum flood on the sides of the bay is when the tide starts to turn to an ebb. And where the ebb builds first is out of the South Bay. So from San Francisco, from Oakland, from the left-hand side, it starts hooking around the bottom of the bay in a back eddy. So generally what happens is that the early ebb is actually going straight up the breakwater, almost towards Mount Tam over here, if you're on the extreme right. Later on, the further left that you go, the stronger the ebb will be. But the very first ebb starts along the shore on the right. And so today, like you Ultimate 20 guys, I think you're having your distance race. You're going up to Alcatraz. And you want to keep in mind that when you start, the tide on the left side of the bay has already been ebbing for hours more than it is here. That's the way that the tide fills on the bay. So it's very easy from mid-circle heading on starboard tack towards the city front. You can lay Alcatraz from way down in the bottom of the bay. If you sail up towards Angel Island on a long port tack, you'll likely overstand big time. Also, some general things early in the day. Again, the wind fills from the left. It'll be stronger on the left first in the first race. Be watching for that. There is a remnant of a low off the coast, in which case it's pushing on shore. So sometimes you get a situation where, and I'm putting this out there now in case it's not a normal pattern, where the wind is trying to fight to come from the left or the right of Angel Island. So what I always choose to do myself is look at which side of the wind the weather mark is in and go sail to that wind as soon as you can that's on either side of the split, if there is a split in the middle. And
Great.
that's my spiel.
Thank you.
Any questions?
You can say that again, that's part.
Can you say all that again?
If the wind is split because it's trying to fill around both sides of the island, make sure you go to sail in the wind that the weather mark is in.
That's so you don't cross twice the lull.
Exactly. Exactly right. And they're going to start the skippers meeting, but I'll hang out if anyone wants to